Making money from selling trash. Or I should be more specific in saying making money from selling other people's trash. I probably should have done this video a long time ago, but I have gotten way more like hands-on personal experience on this. It originally started out as kind of like a hobby and something I didn't really per se do on purpose. So I have to give you a little bit of background before I go into what is super important, and that is where you can find these items. Yes, they're in the trash, but I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on finding the better items, what items you should be picking up because some things sell a lot quicker and easier than others. And then I want to go over where you can sell them, what places are easier again and faster and get you the most money, because we're doing this for the money. We're not picking things out of the trash for fun. Though we are. I do find it fun. It's like a treasure hunt and it's free items, and I don't know, I find it fun and exciting. It literally feels like you're like on the hunt for a treasure inside of these boxes. Either way, all of that aside, before I go into all that, I want to explain how I got onto this adventure and what exactly this adventure is. So basically, I lived in an apartment in downtown LA. I was a broke college student. I still live like a broke college student, but I am no longer in college. But either way, I lived in this building and there was a trash room, and sometimes things were just too big to go down the trash chute. So I started going to the trash room. And I grew up with the idea that, yeah, you pick things up from the curb if it's nice and you bring it home. But I didn't grow up with that idea of a trash room. I lived in a house. I didn't know what a trash room was, really. Like, I get the general idea, but point is, I started going down there and realizing that people would leave stuff outside of the bin. I didn't even have to go inside of the trash bins. I could just go into the room and people were leaving super nice things. I actually miss that downtown apartment because I will let you know, in cities or in more expensive buildings, they leave nicer trash. I guess it's because it's more expensive, so they have nicer trash, but either way, there would be repeated things in there. And I didn't have that much furniture. Because again, I was a broke college student, I wasn't buying furniture, or some of the furniture I was buying was super cheap and dingy. And so what I started doing was bringing in pieces I would find down in the trash, whether it was art or furniture or tables, whatever it was, I would bring from the trash room to fill in those gaps in my missing furniture, and also replace items that were cheaper with nicer things from the trash. And then this is how it all started, but then it started to become more and more intense. I will not lie, I am cheap, I am a hoarder, and I guess you could say, lack of a better word, creative. I make the most of my situations. But the little hoarder in me is the reason why this transition from being a thing to help my decor and my missing gaps in furniture to making money. And that is because the fact that I started bringing in pieces that I did not need, or did not fit my style, or I started to not throw away pieces even though it was supposed to replace them. I would bring in a piece to replace another piece, but not throw away the other piece. And then it started to become the problem where I had too much gosh darn things in my space and it was cluttered. So I started selling pieces that I didn't need. And then it was easy, so I started picking up more things, especially recently from the trash, that I just knew would sell quickly. Because I'm like, hey, I can make some money off of something someone threw out that's still perfectly nice and good, but either way, it was from the trash and I did not have to spend money on it, but I'm making money from it. And so that is how it all began. Now, what have I learned from this hands-on experience that was totally and epically not on purpose? But I did learn a lot. So please learn from my mistakes, and if you want to go into this, do it better than I did from the start. And so what I want to talk about is the idea of where you can find this trash, because I said it very much varies. I grew up with the idea of just by the curbside, and believe me, I still keep an eye out on the curbs. But I would say that's kind of hard because you never know. It's very random. It's very who knows what you're going to see or where to go. And especially if you work from home where you don't drive a lot, you're not going to see that much on the curb. Though I will say, neighborhoods that are less expensive have more stuff on the curb. I think it's probably because they have less strict rules about like bulk pickup and stuff, and their neighbors don't complain about them putting stuff out by the trash. So point is, again, cheaper neighborhoods are better to pick up things on the side of the road. You will find more items, but I don't per se recommend that. I recommend this adventure more for people that live in apartment complexes. Because I promise you, that trash room that you might have never been to because you might just use the trash chute if you live in an apartment, go down to it. Just bring your trash down and start doing it every so often. I promise you will start to see items that people throw away. Some people leave them outside the trash room. Some people put them in the trash room. Some people put them in the trash bin. I hardly ever go in the bins unless I see something sticking out and it looks good to me. I'm like, ooh. And other than that, for the most part, it is outside the bins. You don't have to start digging through. You could be more adventurous than I am. But I'm not digging through the bins. I just don't care that much about it. But I think you go repeatedly, just bring your trash down there and make it part of your routine. Go down there regularly and you will plenty of things to sell with time. Obviously, if you're in an apartment complex with more people, you're more likely to get more trash and find more treasures. Now, that's not saying living in an apartment complex is a must. Again, you can do this by picking things up on the side of the curbs. Or there is the whole adventure that stores often throw away things that are perfectly good and nice, and if you want to start dumpster diving in stores' bins, go for it. You could make money. Not something I'm going into yet, mostly just because I'm lazy and I don't want to get caught looking through the trash. Looking through the trash in my building is already awkward enough when I see people, and I'm just like, whatever, I'm owning it at this point. Like someone in the elevator not that long ago, I was holding a piece of art, and they're like, oh, you got a new piece of art? And I'm like, no. I'm like, I found it in the trash, I'm gonna sell it. And they're like, oh, cool. And it actually like felt normal. Like, I feel like it's just own it. Don't feel embarrassed by it. And now, what items are the right items to grab? Because you should not be grabbing everything. Certain things sell a lot easier than other things. Now, that's not saying they're the things you're gonna get more money from. I think those are two separate arguments. There's the argument of getting the most amount of money for an item you grab and selling something quickly and not having to put much effort into it. Those are two very different things. Now, if you're looking to make money quicker and easier and not have to talk to a lot of people and not have to hold on to it a while because we only have so much storage space to keep other people's trash, I would say grab very simple items and basic and not unique. So what items are easier and sell quicker, you ask? And you're like, get to the point, Tori, get to the point. I am getting to the point, I promise. So the point is, I would say, number one is things that can fit in most people's cars or at least in most people's SUVs. Because if it's a lot bigger, one, it's going to take up way too much space in your place, so why would you want to hold on to it? And two, a lot less people are going to be interested in it because a lot of people don't own trucks. So stick with things that are a little bit on the smaller side. I would say things that sell really quickly are TV stands, chairs, desk chairs, and desks. Those would I say the number one ones. Oh, and art. So if it's like framed art piece, even if it's ugly art, it usually sells pretty quickly because frames are expensive, especially if they have glass fronts. So I sell those usually in like the $40, $50 range, depending on how nice they are. So that's quick, easy money, and they don't take up much space in my apartment, and they usually sell really quickly. Like I grabbed a framed art piece. It sold in literally one night, and it was super cute. It was $45. The frame was hella damaged, and I still got $45. And then I had these other two pieces, which were two frames that were glass, and they were just the frames and no art in them. Those I sold for $50 each. Oh wait, I dropped it to a discount. I sold them for $40 each. They picked them both up, so that was $80 for two frames I grabbed from the trash. And they were also old and not in the best condition. So that was $80 really easily. And they also sold very quickly, not as quickly as a night though. That other frame sold very quickly. But as for the two individual frames, those sold in a couple days. But still, a couple days, $80. I only talked to like 2 people. Simple, easy, they picked them up, I got money. And then other things like TV stands. I had a TV stand that literally I put in the title needs paint because it needed paint. It was bad. Like it was dingy, it was messed up. It sold also in one night, and I had a crap ton of messages about that one too. And that one I sold for $75. $75 might not be that much money, but it's something I got from the trash that was also not in good shape and sold very quickly. And the other thing that sold very quickly is outdoor furniture. A lot of times, especially this time of the year, sells quickly because it's very expensive and people don't want to pay that very expensive price. So if you can find outdoor furniture, grab it. Especially like metal chairs that are smaller and easier to fit in spaces. I have sold 2 sets of those. I have sold metal ones and I've sold like plastic wickery looking ones. Both of those I sold, I can't even remember the price on them, but either way I sold those quickly. But this goes to the idea of where should I be selling these items? What have I found to be the easiest? Now I would say the easiest number one thing that you can't per se control is living in a populated area. I live in Los Angeles. I sell stuff a lot quicker than I would in the boondocks. It's just simple as that. There are more people around me, aka meaning there's more people around me that are looking to buy things. The one you can control more is I find Facebook Marketplace, or I should say Facebook Marketplace. That is a newer one in the streets. I don't think that's actually a saying, but either way, that is a newer one that I find to be a lot easier. There's Craigslist and OfferUp and Letgo, even though they became one. I'm not sure which one they are now, but there's only one, not both. One bought each other out. But either way, I find Facebook Marketplace a lot easier and personally safer in my opinion because it's attached to their Facebook account a lot of times. So you can kind of get an idea of their vibe and what they're like and make sure they're not a creep. And also it's easier because of the fact that a lot of people have Facebook already. They don't want to create an OfferUp account or create a Craigslist account to try to find this furniture they're looking for. They want to kind of just surf it like they surf, H&M's website. It makes it easier and they're more likely to impulsively buy things, especially me. I scroll Facebook Marketplace all the time. I just find it fun. It's like shopping. But either way, other people do it too, and they're more likely to buy things from you because they're just scrolling and not per se looking for the item. They're like, oh, I kind of need that in my house, so they grab it. So Facebook Marketplace is the easiest one, and the easiest way to do the listings and make the most amount of money quickly is to have a proper listing. So what you're going to do is once you find these items in the trash, you are going to photograph them. And I want you to photograph every single side, and I want you to be upfront about the damage. Don't hide it. I promise you, you will still sell the items even if you point out the things that are wrong with it. And it just makes it easier. People don't show up and end up not wanting to buy it, or they message you and ask you all these additional questions. You want to have it all in the pictures. You only get 10 though. So like be selective, I think it's 10. Be selective, but make sure to show everything. And then also in my photos, I decided to do is a tape measure measuring in the photos. So instead of including the dimensions in the description, because a lot of times people do not read the description, so if you put it in the descriptions, they're still gonna message you and say, how big is it? So I put it in the photos because almost everyone looks at the photos. And in addition to that, I'm not giving them an exact number. So they can't be like, oh, it wasn't that size or blah, blah, blah. I'm holding up the tape measure, you guesstimate yourself. And I do all the sides of it. And then in the description, I am very descriptive on what the item is, what the damages are, and all the additional information that they might need. But I try to keep it to all the things being in the images. And then also, I put a price that's reasonable. I don't put a price to make the most amount of money, because the other side of the argument we had talked about that I hadn't mentioned yet is the fact that certain things you can make more money on, and that is the unique items that are worth more, but not for everyone. They're very specific tastes, and those do cost more money, and you do get more money reselling those items, but they take a lot longer because you have to find the right person. For me, my listings are for everyone. They're for the basic person in the basic household. So what I am listing, it goes quicker because more people are interested in those items, and also I list it at a price that is more affordable for the average person so that I can sell it quickly and I don't have to put effort into it. I don't have to message people because time is money, effort is money. So I have to message a bunch of people, answer a bunch of questions, then it's a part-time job. And if you want this to be a part-time job, then go right into that. But I want this to be side hustle extra money. And if you want it to be side hustle extra money, do not do very specific custom items that are unique and special, and also don't list them at prices that are crazy higher. Okay, now you might ask, what is the appropriate price then? And I don't see the item in front of you, so I couldn't really tell you. And even if I did see the item in front of you, I would still sell you the same thing, and that is comparative pricing. Look at Facebook Marketplace. Google the item you just found. If you just found an office chair, Google office chair, local pickup, because there's an option that says like shipping or local pickup. Switch it to local pickup, type in office chair, look at the office chairs and see how much they're going for. And you ranged it around in that price range. Obviously, if yours is a lot nicer than the ones you're seeing, you put a little bit more. If it's a lot cheaper, put it cheaper. But around that range that you're seeing for other listings. Or if you want to sell really quickly, put it below those other prices. But I usually keep around in the same range because I still find it to sell quickly. But don't undervalue yourself either, because a lot of times people want to negotiate or get a cheaper price, so put it, a little bit higher than you might want in the end. But even then, I put it higher than I would think it would go for, but that is also because I'm cheap and think things are worth a lot less than they actually are. So sometimes I'm like, no, put that price a little bit higher. I am not my clientele. I'm not the person buying this. Other people are. So keep that also in mind. So again, comparative pricing, put it around that price. And also, you don't have to haggle. You don't have to answer an absurd amount of questions. If someone's asking you a crazy amount of questions or trying to lowball you, honestly, just don't respond. There'll be that person that will offer you full price right away, all the time. If I do a listing and I get a bunch of messages literally the day of, which is usually what ends up happening, I have a ton of people that are like, $20 less, $30 less, $40 less. And the other person's like, I will pick it up today, full price. So also working from home gives me the flexibility to be able to have people pick stuff up easier and whenever they really want to, which makes a sale a lot easier and smoother, but you can still do it even if you don't work from home and you can figure out a time that works for them. But either way, you do not have to settle, you do not have to negotiate, you don't have to answer a crazy amount of questions. Put in the amount of effort you are willing to put in and you'll end up selling it. Obviously, the more effort you put in, the quicker the sale, blah, blah, blah. But either way, use my tips and tricks to get the most amount of money you can and as quick as you can by grabbing the right items, doing the listings, putting the work in, and have fun with it. I honestly find it fun. I'm like, ooh, it's time to go look in the trashes. Or when I drive out of my garage, I'm always like, do I see anything? And one of my roommates like, there's nothing in there. Because sometimes I'm in the car with one of my roommates and I'm like, don't hate. Half this furniture in this apartment you're sitting on is from the trash. So either way, I make the most of it. I have fun with it. I get excited when I find a new item, especially if it's an item I actually want to keep in my apartment. So it's not saying you should sell everything. Some things you should keep for yourself and sell your own items. Now that is enough talking about trying to make money from trash. I just want to make a few last notes to you, and that is one other secret thing to know is textbooks. If you live in an area that is a college town area, grab textbooks whenever you see them in the trash because there are websites online that will give you cash to send them the book and pay for shipping. You just have to Google them. And also know that when people are moving in and out, that is a great time to check the trash rooms. If you see someone with a moving truck, go check out the trash cans. If it is college moving in or out season, check the trash cans. Also, be safe, check profiles, be smart about this, as safe as you can be, because it's almost like online dating. Just be as safe as you can be. And check profiles, all of that. But either way, I do a lot of other videos on helping you figure out adulting while I'm attempting to figure it out myself. So if you are looking for high-paying beginner jobs, if you're looking to make money off of credit cards, if you're looking to budget, if you're looking for apartment videos, dating videos, I do so many videos every single Wednesday. So I hope you have a great rest of your morning, evening, night. I'll see you soon. Oh, hit that like button and that subscribe button down below. It really helps the girl out. And have